Yo, 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 yo. What's up, everybody? We're back here, episode 4 of the Fantasy Dads. I'm here with my boy Kevin, as always. What it do, Kev?
What's up, buddy? How we doing?
Not bad. So today we're going to talk about some wide receivers. We're going to talk about the sleepers, the bust, the top 10s, some rookies. And we got our weekly question of the week, which would be DeAndre versus Devontae. Last week we talked about running backs, which was a good show. So we'll jump right in with some news to update you guys on the good old COVID. What do you got? What do you got for us this week, Kev?
A little bit of good news, and then probably a lot of bad news. But I mean, the NFL and the NFLPA agreed on terms to have a season. So I mean, that was the good news. There's going to be some football as of right now. There will be no preseason, but teams are reporting to camp today, and then we got a long list of people opting out today. So that's the bad news. And it started with a lot of Patriots, right, which is a bummer.
Yes, it is.
No Hightower, no Chung, Marcus Cannon, Brandon Bolden, and our new fullback, Vitale. So, that's a hit for the Pats.
All of them which have recent medical issues or newborns.
Yeah, and family stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, Cannon's a big hit.
Also, some other notable ones so far. Star Latulele from Buffalo, the defensive tackle. Devin Funchess, Green Bay wide receiver. I mean, he's a scrub. Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, he's a doctor, so he's actually pretty sure he's up in Canada right now, treating patients. That's big. He was the first one to actually opt out.
Wait, what was that guy's name?
Duvernay-Tardif. He's a lineman for the Chiefs.
Okay.
He's a doctor.
Oh, so he's actually out there helping people.
Yeah, he's out there doing the thing
Wow.
up in Canada. So that's good for him. Shout out. And Marquise Goodwin opted out, Eagles wide receiver.
Wow, that's actually pretty big.
Yeah. He's got a little baby, and his wife had previous miscarriages. So, good for you, man. Family first.
Yeah. I think we're going to see a lot of people, a lot of big names, I think, in a couple of days.
This was basically the first day that they were reporting to camp, right? And we're already having a list of this, so
I think
we'll see as we go.
I think it hit 22, I think it was today, or maybe it was higher.
Yeah, this was just the most notable names.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying, though, I think it's probably going to get worse. I mean, we might start seeing some big-name stars start to drop out.
If big names start to drop out, man, all bets are off.
Yeah,
it's having a season.
It's gonna be scary. But we just gotta hope for the best, and we'll keep doing the show and keep talking fantasy until then. So let's jump right in, dude. Let's talk about the question of the week: Davante Adams or DeAndre Hopkins. This is more or less a question. We know Michael Thomas is probably the number one fantasy wide receiver on everybody's draft board. You could say, oh, I'll take him over Michael Thomas. You could say all you want, but when it comes down to the experts' rankings and everybody else that I know that plays fantasy, they got Michael Thomas number one, especially in PPR.
You have to.
Right.
You have to.
Right. So what comes up in argument next is who's after. You know what I mean? Now, these are two guys that I think between me and Kevin, we would consider probably the battle for the number two. But you also got Julio Jones and Tyreek Hill.
I was going to say Julio, for me, he's close. Yeah. I actually have Julio ahead of Hopkins, but...
Yeah, I have Hopkins number 2. So that's why I took your number 2 and took my number 2. And I said, you know what, let's clash it. Let's see what happens there. And we actually got a lot of feedback on social media this week, which was awesome. But we'll give our opinions first. Not that I'm going to pick a side, because I would love to have either one of these guys on my team. They're both absolutely savages on the field. But if I had to pick, in my personal preference, I would pick DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins, year in and year out, proves, not that Devontae doesn't, but proves year in and year out no matter who his quarterback is. Let's not forget that he had, what's his name? TJ Leaf or something? Yates. TJ Yates. Matt Schwab, Brandon Weeden. He's had some scrubs, and he's managed to keep up with his numbers every year. His drop rate's extremely low. It was only a year ago, not this past season, the season before, he didn't drop one pass which is absolutely incredible. Talent-wise, I believe he is the best receiver talent-wise in the NFL, all around. Even better than Michael Thomas. But when it comes to fantasy, you can't really touch Michael yet. But I just think the change of scenery, moving over to Arizona, I think that's going to help him a lot. Last year, he had kind of a rough year last year, considering what was going on. The team kind of was iffy last year when it comes down to their offense. Deshaun Watson was very on and off. I had him on my team in the league of record, and he was very inconsistent. He had weeks where he had 2 points, 0 points. They became a very run-heavy team because of injuries at the receiver, so DeAndre was getting doubled left and right. His red zone targets were taken away by Darren Fells, which is insane. Carlos Hyde was eating at the goal line. He had over 1,000 yards last year, and that's Carlos Hyde. So, it's I think going to Arizona, not that they don't have talent. They got Larry Fitzgerald, they got Kenyon Drake, and they got the quarterback that I love this year, Kyler Murray. So I think it's going to help him. I think he's going to benefit from the talent around him, and I think he's going to put up crazy numbers this year. I really do. I think that I think he's going to pop off, man. Like more than usual. More than usual. I think he's. The number one receiver this year in the NFL. It's up in the air. We can rank Michael Thomas number one, and we'll go into the season. He'll probably get picked in the top. I'd say probably top 5 in fantasy drafts. But when it comes down to it, we got 5 receivers in the NFL who could easily. You could even consider 6 that could make the number one receiver. So that's why I thought this argument would be pretty cool to talk about. And I know you love Devontae. Year in and year out, you love Devontae. So give us a little insight on him.
I love D-Hop too. He won me a league 2 years ago, but I gotta go with Adams.
Yeah.
And it's really his target share is just ridiculous. Even last year he missed 4 games. He still had 127 targets and 1,000 yards. And that's just wild. And the year before that, his first year with no Jordy Nelson in the picture there in Green Bay, 111 catches, 1,386 yards, and 13 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's impressive.
And I'm pretty sure he was wide receiver 2 that year.
You don't have to dive. You don't have to dive too deep because I know you're going to be talking about him in a couple minutes here. But
yeah, he's my guy.
Yeah, so we'll.
I'm on Adams here.
Yeah, we'll hold off on your stats until we get into that. I just want to. We'll go over the social media results real quick. I put the weekly poll up on Instagram like I always do, and let me give you those numbers right now. I think it was Hopkins actually. Yeah, actually it was 5-4. Little less votes than we had last week, but DeAndre ended up with 5 and Devontae ended up with 4. So that's a close call. But then when I brought it to Facebook, I asked the Facebook community who they wanted, and it was very Devontae heavy. A lot of the guys that commented they want Devontae this year. We had a couple DeAndre Hopkins toss their opinions in, but a lot of them actually said that D-Hop is more talented, but Devontae is just in a better situation to receive more targets. Which, it's probably true because he's not playing next to a Larry Fitzgerald. Who did you say they lost today? Didn't someone just get hurt?
Well, Funchess opted out.
That's right.
I don't know how involved he was really going to be.
They don't really have anything.
He has no one. He has one other guy I'm going to talk about later.
Yeah. But, yeah, so, the target competition's obviously nowhere near as hard as it will be for DeAndre, for Devontae. So I can see that aspect of it, but just being a D-Hop fan in general, I just don't see how he can digress in Arizona with a better team, a better offense that fits his play style. They don't run tight ends in Arizona. They run spread offense with a running back or 2 running backs in the backfield. Kingsbury is a gunner. He's gonna want to score on will. So I really like D-Hop. But yeah, so we'll end that talk right there for now. So D-Hop won the Instagram vote. I would have to say Devontae won the Facebook discussion this week. But let's dive into the Devontae Adams. Let you talk about this boy a little more.
Right. Well, I already gave his last 2 years' stats. Like I said, 127 targets in 12 games. I think he's the only one who will get close to Michael Thomas's target volume.
Yeah.
I think Thomas had 185 targets last year. Adams was on pace if he played full 16 for 169, which is what he did in 2018 also. And the positive touchdown regression is coming. The 3 years in a row, he had 12 in 2016, 10 in 2017, 13 in 2018. Last year, he was down to 5. I mean, that's a huge drop off. It'll be back. I mean, Rodgers doesn't really have anybody else for the red zone right now. And I'm going to talk about Lazard later. He's tall, he's a big target, but he's not Devontae Adams. I think Adams easily hits at least 10 touchdowns again this year.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's my guy. They also have a really good schedule for wide receivers, especially in the playoffs. Bring that up real quick.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Green Bay and Chicago both have really good strength of schedules.
We someone actually brought that up on Facebook too, that his schedule is very favoring. But I mean, the target share is just undeniable.
Yeah, he gets the Lions.
Ooh.
In the fantasy playoffs, the Panthers and the Titans, and you can't ask for better matchups than that.
Titans might be a little tough depending on who's there, but
I mean they have a solid D, but their corners aren't anybody.
They're
not going to lock anything down.
They didn't bring Logan Ryan back.
Panthers and Lions are like in full secondary rebuild. So, and honestly, some people might think of Adams as injury prone, but last year was the most games he's ever missed in a season. He played a full 16 3 times now.
Yeah.
So I'm not really worried about the injury thing. But yeah, he's definitely my number 2. High on him this year.
Yeah, I got him number 3. I mean, you got to be high on Devontae Adams, especially especially with the repertoire with Aaron Rodgers. Even if Aaron Rodgers ends up sitting, Love will give him the ball too. You'd have to assume.
If anybody's going to take over the top spot from Michael Thomas, I'd say it's probably going to be Adams.
Okay. All right. Well, I got to argue that. I think this guy right here has a pretty good shot at it too. This freak of nature, Tyreek Hill. Right now, he's getting drafted number 11 overall in drafts, so that's a perfect opportunity to stack with Patrick Mahomes. We did our mock draft yesterday, actually, and I did 0 running backs, and I ended up with Tyreek and Patrick Mahomes, and honestly, my team didn't look too bad, considering. In 12 games in 2019, because he got hurt, he had 89 targets still, 58 catches, 860 yards, 7 touchdowns, in 12 games. So he's obviously the number 1, regardless. If he's hurt, he comes back, he's still the number 1. He's no competition for targets when it comes to that regard, especially down the field. 2018, to give you a more relevant stat line, he had 137 targets, 1,400, almost 1,500 yards, 12 touchdowns. That's insane numbers. I'm pretty sure he finished wide receiver 1 that year. If I had to guess, that's 12 touchdowns is immaculate. I think his longest touchdown was 91 yards that year too, from what I saw. So I mean, that deep ball, that deep threat. I mean, he's gonna be full health this year. I've been watching his workout videos on YouTube. He's got a YouTube channel now, and the dude is an animal, absolute animal. I mean, you can't. He's the fastest man in the NFL, and coming into a season where he's healthy, his division outside of the Broncos, because I think the Broncos defense is going to surprise some people this year. The division's kind of weak for the most part. Kansas City is Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes is going to do Patrick Mahomes things this year, and he's his number 1 option. So that's got to intrigue you. You know what I mean? His only problem, he's not a red zone option. He doesn't get targeted in the red zone at all. That's where Kelsey comes into play and the running backs. And actually, Sammy Watkins was a high target in the red zone last year. But yards after catch, forget about it. He's number 2 in the NFL with 522 yards. His air yards are 957, which is insane. So he's just deep, just semi-deep coach. I'll catch the touchdown. I mean, that's honestly all you got to do with this guy. I mean, no one in the NFL can cover him.
He's a problem.
He's a problem. Absolute problem. And, that's not even to talk about just like he can play anywhere. You could toss him in the backfield. You could toss him a kick return, punt return. Depending on your scoring, this guy could be scoring you points from all over the field. You know what I mean? So, I love Tyreek this year. I did a spotlight on him this week, and I actually made a prediction before the show even was announced that I think this guy's gonna end up being the number one receiver in fantasy football this year. I only have him ranked number 4 right now. That's just based off of analytics and stuff like that. But come 2020 kickoff, this guy could pop off week 1, and have 4 touchdowns or some crazy workload, and then all of a sudden, people are like, "Oh man, I'm losing to the guy who had last pick in the draft. He's got Tyreek and Patrick Mahomes." You know what I mean? It's
that is a pretty interesting way to do it, right? At the turn,
the turn, man. I
just go
mean,
the Hill Mahomes stack at 12 if you can do it.
yeah, and their offense is good. They're gonna score. They're gonna average at least 30 points a game, at least. You know what I mean? And that's his target. I honestly think his numbers will go up from the 2018 stat line. I mean, 137 targets is a lot, but I think he could get more. They really don't have any receivers that are nameworthy.
He doesn't really even need to, though.
Right. I mean, yeah,
he
he
has
could.
The air yards that he doesn't necessarily need the volume the other guys do.
Right.
Because he can catch 80-yard touchdowns.
Right.
And every time he's on the field.
Right. Which is insane. I got him for about 1,500 yards, 9 touchdowns this year. It's probably going to be. I think it should be more than 9. I mean, his highest is 12. So I don't know. I don't know if we see a regression. I mean, last year was a regression because he was injured. I think if he was healthy all year, it would have been different. And I mean, they won the Super Bowl, and he played a role in it. So yeah, I like Tyreek. Just be on the lookout. If you get that last pick in the draft, man, just don't write it off. That's all I'm gonna leave it at that. Don't write off that option. A lot of people like to stay away from quarterbacks, but I'll leave you with this: Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson last year outscored the receivers and running backs. So, just gonna leave it at that. So, Kevin, wrong one. There you go. You gotta talk about Allen Robinson for us.
There he is. This is my guy, and I feel like I just always kind of sleep on this guy. Like last year, I saw his name and I just kept scrolling, and that was a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I'm not going to do it again this year. I mean, he was wide receiver 7 last year in PPR, and that's arguably with the worst quarterback play in the league. I mean, Trubisky couldn't get much worse. And this year, they brought in. I mean, I don't know why they would not bring in Cam Newton or Jameis Winston, but they brought in, Nick Foles, Dick Nick. They brought him in. So we'll see if that pushes Trubisky to be any better. If it doesn't, then we'll get Nick Foles. I mean, it can't get any worse than last year, though, for Allen Robinson. I mean, his target share, kind of like Adams, there's just no one else there. I mean, you have Anthony Miller, and that's about it. Gabriel left. Ted Ginn comes in. Kind of the same person.
Yep.
Not worried about them. Robinson had the 8th best contested catch in the league. He goes up and gets it. And he had 154 targets, 98 catches, 1,147 yards, and 7 touchdowns. And those are beast numbers with garbage quarterback play. And once again, another great playoff schedule. He gets Houston, Minnesota, Jacksonville. No secondary to be found on any of those teams. And the whole season, he basically has 3 negative matchups, wide receiver. So if the quarterback play can even be competent, I mean, Robinson could easily jump into the top 5 wide receivers. So I have him ranked number 10, but he can definitely be higher than that.
Yeah, I mean, Allen Robinson last year. I actually, in one of the leagues we're in together, our hometown league, he was an accidental pick for me. I didn't even want to pick him. I think what turns me off about Allen Robinson is the fact that he
traded him too.
I did. I think it's because he plays in Chicago. Their offense doesn't impress me whatsoever. Their offense is terrible. Mitch Trubisky's terrible. But you can't deny the fact that Allen Robinson's a superstar.
He's just a beast. He's a beast. I mean, his highlights. I mean, his route running. He's going up to get the ball. He's top tier. And if only he had a quarterback.
If only. And I mean,
and a coach.
Who knows? I mean, Nick Foles might come in and maybe he rebirths. I don't
We'll
know,
see
man. It's
some vintage Nick
I don't
from the
know.
Super Bowl.
I don't know, man.
I
It's
don't think so.
Allen Robinson. He's I got him 14. I know you got him 10. Um, I don't know, and he's definitely a wide receiver 2 in my eyes. I wouldn't take him. I wouldn't be comfortable as him as my wide receiver 1. Um, maybe in a standard league, because he doesn't. I don't know. It's hard to judge. That offense is it's so in the air. I mean,
Oh man, he caught 98 balls last year. That's
I know he did.
good.
I know.
Target volume it's there.
You just don't think it'll happen. You're in the draft room and you're picking, and you see, let's say you got third round. No, actually, he's going in the second round, right? Or second round pick, around the second or third, I think. And you see Allen Robinson there, and then you see, I don't know, Odell. I take Odell. That's a good one. I take Odell all day over
No,
Allen Robinson. But
that's what I feel like. Last year I would have done the same thing. I scroll by Allen Robinson, and I just kind of look past him. But
right,
can't do that again this year because
no, you can't.
he outproduced Odell by a lot last year. And I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't this year either. He has basically no competition.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying. I mean, he is an easier guy to just kind of scroll by.
Mm-hmm. It's because his position in Chicago. But he's going to get the red zone looks. They're going to give him the ball in the red zone, so that's big. But we'll dive into my next guy, which is Keenan Allen, who I am very high on year in and year out, and it does not look like you are this year. You got him at 18. I was looking at your rankings. I was like, oh man, he doesn't even consider him a
you
wide
have
receiver
him
too. I have him.
You have him. You have him way higher than anybody.
So when you look at quarterbacks,
but he's a wide receiver too, man. Wide receiver 2 would be up to 24. So he's definitely a wide receiver 2 in my eyes.
I would be comfortable if he was my wide receiver 1. I think. Well, if you look at offenses, the Chargers lost Melvin Gordon, so that's an aspect of their team that's gone. So they're going to rely on Austin Eckler, and I mean whoever their quarterback is, Tyrod Taylor. I mean these guys are NFL quarterbacks. Okay, they're going to get the ball to Allen. Allen is an absolute beast. Let me tell you these numbers real quick. First off, his stock is dropping rapidly. He's going wicked late. 44th overall, 4th round pick. For potential. I mean, in my opinion, potential wide receiver 1. You go running back heavy, and he's there in the 4th round. I'm happy with that, 100%. Last year he had 150 targets and 104 catches. 104 catches. That is insane. That's 104 points. And those aren't deep balls. Those are balls that are over the middle. Those are balls and screens. He doesn't have a lot of deep targets. He's not the deep threat. That's Mike Williams. So when people argue me, they're like, oh, Tyrod Taylor's the quarterback or Justin Herbert's the quarterback. How could you pick Keenan Allen? Because, I mean, you could even revert back to Allen Robinson, the same kind of aspect. He's an absolute savage. The guy is a beast. He considers himself the best receiver in the NFL. And that's a great chip to have on your shoulder. And then you got a guy like Tyrod Taylor coming in who is a vet. Let's not forget that he played in the NFL. Not that he was great, but he started for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, did he? I think he played for the Ravens as well, didn't he, for a couple games? But Cleveland. I'm sorry, Cleveland. He wasn't very good in Cleveland though. He was a lot better in Buffalo.
I don't know.
Yeah. But last year, Keenan Allen, he only had 6 touchdowns. But that's that. I put a lot of that to blame on the fact that Hunter Henry was healthy near the end of the year, and Austin Eckler took a lot of those red zone targets away from Keenan Allen. He didn't get targeted in the red zone at all. But his yards after catch were really high at 368 yards after catch, which is 9th in the NFL, which is very good. So what I'm trying to get at here is that he's going to be a nice safety blanket for Tyrod Taylor or for Justin Herbert. Whoever this quarterback's going to be for the Chargers, they're going to get the ball to Keenan Allen. Coach is going to be like, okay, if you're not handing the ball off to Eckler, you're not handing it off to Josh Kelly, you're not throwing it to Hunter Henry, or throwing a jump ball to Mike Williams, I guess. I mean, Keenan Allen's the number 1 option. Give him a slant, give him a screen, give him an out, give him a curl. He's going to get the ball. He's number 1 in the NFL in contested catches last year. I mean, you can't argue that. He could be covered, double covered. You throw him up the ball, doesn't even have to be accurate. He'll go and he'll get it. He's shifty. He got voted the best route runner in the NFL by the players last year. So, I don't know. That speaks volumes to me. You got the best corners in the NFL telling you you're the best route runner. That's saying something, in my opinion. I just don't think people should be sleeping on this guy. They're going to fourth round is way too late. I almost picked him to be my value pick, but I got him in my top 10. So I don't think he's value. I think he's almost a must-have at the position he's getting drafted. I love Keenan Allen. Year in and year out, he produces. And he doesn't really get hurt. He had, I looked earlier, I think it was 2016. The year after his rookie season, it was his only year. He really had a lot of injuries. But
It was 2 years in a row with him.
2 years?
But one of them was a lacerated spleen, bro. So I mean, you can't really avoid that. And then he tore his ACL.
Right.
But since then, he's been on the field.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he doesn't drop the ball either. So I don't know. I love Keenan Allen. I think he's a guy you should definitely not overlook, because I think you'd be kicking yourself in the ass when it comes down to it, and you pick a guy like Adam Thielen over him, or a guy like Allen Robinson over him, or a guy like, I don't know, Juju Smith-Schuster. I would not take any of those guys over Keenan Allen. I don't know. I know you got him at 18.
I just don't know if they're gonna throw the ball enough.
Who's gonna run it? Austin Eckler's.
Tyrod's not really known. Tyrod runs himself, though. I mean, they're not known. He's not known for high volume passing attacks. The defense is pretty good there, so I just worry about them actually having that kind of volume. But I mean, obviously, I love Keenan Allen.
Tyrod
calls me in the fourth round.
We gotta remember, Tyrod Taylor's not young anymore. He's not the same age as he was when he was playing in Buffalo. So he's not going to be able to run the ball as much, He's going to be hobbling. I don't know. I think at least. But yeah. So I'll end it at that. I like Keenan Allen a lot this year. So don't sleep on him, I guess I could say. He's the guy that, in my opinion, can probably help your team out a lot, especially in the fourth round. All right. And then we're gonna jump.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna jump into the value picks.
All right, did you pop up the top 10s yet, or?
Oh no, I did.
Are we just not gonna do that?
Oh, we're gonna do that. That's right. I forgot something.
Pop that up real
there
quick.
There it is. All right, so we'll just show you this real quick. A little unorganized. I should have been first. My bad. But like I said, we got Michael Thomas number 1. I got DeAndre number 2. Kevin's got Devontae number 2, and then it kind of stays on the same path for the most part. We got Chris Godwin at the same spot. Tyreek at the same spot. I got Julio a little lower than you. Kenny Galladay, Mike Evans, and then, I mean, for the most part, I get the same guys in the top 10 besides Keenan Allen and Allen Robinson, just in different spots. So, I mean, receivers, in my opinion, this year, you could walk away with 2 wide receiver ones, even if you pick running backs the first 2 rounds. The receivers are so deep every year in and year out.
Pretty deep.
They're always deep. I mean, from 11 to, I was looking today, from 11 to 20, you got guys like Odell Beckham, Adam Thielen. You can even say Juju Smith-Schuster with Big Ben coming back. It's crazy. It's honestly crazy.
T.Y. Hilton.
T.Y. Hilton, who I will talk about in a little bit. But yeah, this is top 10, so flash it for you right there. We'll talk about the value picks real quick. We had a couple. Where'd it go? We had a couple. I'll let you go first, Kev, with Golden Tate.
All right, Golden Tate. Every year for PPR, he's just a target hog. And, I mean, even last year, he missed 5 games, so had 85 targets. And there's still the same health question marks surrounding Shepard and Ingram this year. So if Tate's there, I mean, Daniel Jones was targeting him very heavily. And he caught 6 touchdowns. And it's not usually, his strong suit. Usually just kind of the PPR guy. I mean, he's being drafted as wide receiver 58.
Jeez.
154 overall.
Whoa, hold on, Kev. Hold on. We got a raid. Stavi Buckets with the raid, bro. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much, dude. Welcome, everybody. This is the Fantasy Football Dads talking about some receivers. We just finished our top 10. We're diving into the value picks right now. So I'm going to get back into it. This is my buddy Kev right here below me. Hometown friend in real life.
What's up, everybody?
One of my best friends. So, hope you guys enjoy the show. Make sure you hit that follow button, too. And, yeah, talk to you at the end of the show. We have a live question and answers at the end, so make sure you stay by. All right, Kev, continue. My bad.
Well, like I said, wide receiver 58, 154 overall. I mean, you're not going to find anybody who's going to have over 100 targets, really, in that range. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just think he should definitely lead that team in targets. Let me
Uh,
go by his last like 5 or 6 years. 144 targets, 128 targets, 135 targets, 120, 113. Then last year the 85 when he missed 5 games.
and if you sat on him for
Uh,
those 5 games that he was suspended, it paid off for you pretty well. He was a
right.
beast. He was a beast.
Yeah, and he's usually pretty healthy. I mean, he missed those games not because of health. That was a suspension. And then he's played a full 16 almost every year. So you have other guys, concussion problem. Engram can't seem to stay on the field. You can get this guy, and it's not for free, but pretty close. Wide receiver 58.
That's low.
I mean, absolute PPR monster. You
Yeah.
can grab some of the last rounds. I think that screams value to me.
League of record, we run, just so you guys know, we run 3 receivers in a flex. So we potentially, I mean, my strategy every year, everybody knows by now, I run 4 receivers. So a guy like this, if he's
Yeah,
sitting there and I need a receiver or
easy flex
a
piece, bro.
flex, dude, that's like you said, that's crazy
Easy,
value. I got him ranked pretty high.
easy.
I got him at 24. You got him at 36, a lot lower than I do, but I think that's a little more of a biased opinion on my part because I've been a Tate fan for a while, and last year I had him in a bunch of leagues. I got him nearly for free because he was suspended for 5 games, and it paid off for me quite well. So, and I'm a believer in Daniel Jones like you are. Um, but
I
yeah,
mean, I just think he's easily going to clear 100 targets.
has to.
So, he's going to, and he's efficient because of the kind of routes that he runs. Maybe the red zone stuff's not there, but in a PPR, dude, as a wide receiver 3 or flex, you're getting him 150th overall. That's a steal.
Oh, without a doubt, man. Without a doubt. Um, he's a little bit more deeper than my guy. But we'll jump into Devontae Parker real quick. Devontae Parker came out to the scene last year like hot fire, dude. Hot fire with Mr. Fitzpatrick over in Miami. He is talented, that's for sure. He's an extremely talented player. Miami did pay him, and they paid him to be their number one receiver for, I think it was 4 years. So they got faith in this kid. I mean, after last year, how can you not? He played well. He played extremely well with the crap quarterback. I mean, Fitzpatrick is what? Bottom tier. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know. It just
He
shows.
just loves to
It
slang it.
just yeah. It just shows that in the Miami offense where they don't really care, I guess you could say, because they know they're not until two is ready. You know what I mean? They're not going to be competing for the division. They're going to sling the rock. They're going to let Fitzpatrick go back there, throw the ball 50 times, throw 3 picks, but then throw 4 touchdowns. But Devontae Parker, he's getting drafted 69.9. So that's 7th round, I think. 7th round pick. So he's getting picked as like a wide receiver, low end 2 flex. That's value. That's insane. This guy last year, just to give you some numbers, he had 28 deep targets, which is 5th in the NFL. He had 9 receiving touchdowns and 1,200 yards. 128 targets in Miami. That's numbers, dude. That's numbers. He won people leagues last year. He was a waiver claim last year. In our league, he was. The guy who won our league, he had Devontae Parker. So, I mean, if you could end up with Devontae Parker as your flex receiver or your wide receiver 2, and a low end 2, you got a guy who could potentially be a wide receiver 1 if Ryan Fitzpatrick is allowed to sling the rock consistently like he was last year, even after mistake, and he can still get the ball to Devontae Parker.
Yeah, that's I was gonna say I like Parker a lot more if the longer Fitzpatrick is the quarterback because we're not quite sure what the offense is gonna look like with Tua.
With Tua. I agree.
But you know what you're getting with Fitzmagic.
Right. Right.
He had the bond last year. I mean Parker was a bust.
Wicked.
Pretty sure 3 years in the league, he was a bust.
Bust.
Everyone was waiting for the talent to arrive, and then he showed up last year. Fitzmagic brought it out of him. Probably had something to do with Adam Gase also, but everyone knows that Adam Gase is the worst.
I don't even know how he has a
Yeah,
chance.
I like Parker, man.
But I mean, even his air yards, he had 952 air yards last year. That's 4th in the NFL. I mean, he doesn't even scream deep threat. You know what I mean? Like he's got a more of a physical stature to him. He's more of a over the middle kind of a guy. But he was burning it last year. So I mean, I think he comes out. And I mean, I got him at 20 right now. You got him at 27. So that pattern continues where you got your guys lower than me. But he could potentially sneak into that top
To be honest with
15.
you, right? I've been tweaking the wide receiver rankings like almost every day, so I might have him a little bit higher now, but still, I don't think I have him at 20.
Yeah, I mean he could easily sneak into top 15. Um, but yeah, I mean you get him in this what did I say 7th round. You get him in the 7th round, dude. Oh my god,
It's value.
that's value. That screams value. That's I mean you can't get any more value than that, dude. So all right, that does it for our value picks. What's next, dude? We got some sleepers. This is the good
Couple
stuff, right?
sleepers.
Yeah, we got some sleepers, dude. Um, I'll let you dive in here first. I don't know, this guy's not going away, dude. Where'd he
What's
go?
that?
My guy's not going away. Oh, there he goes. Okay. All right. So I'll let you go first with your boy Michael Pittman, receiver from Indianapolis.
Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman Jr.
Sorry.
So, I mean, there's some hype surrounding all the rookie wide receivers, even with the
As
short off season. But
as always.
I mean, it's a stacked wide receiver class, honestly. But I like Pittman a lot. He's one of my higher ranked ones, and I've seen a lot of comparisons to Vincent Jackson. A lot of people are saying they remind him of Vincent Jackson, and Philip Rivers played with Vincent Jackson. Had a lot of chemistry. That he's a huge target, 6'4". And I mean, Ty, he was banged up last year, but I mean, honestly, behind Ty Hilton, it's wide open. I mean, you got Zach Pascal, Paris Campbell. None of those guys are.
Hold
I
on,
mean,
hold
Pascal
on.
did look good.
You can't forget about
What
my
we got?
man. You can't forget about Manchester Rogers, bro.
Yo, is he even on the team anymore?
I don't know.
To be honest with you, I don't even know if he's on the roster, bro.
Chester was one of my sleeper picks
Chester
last
Rogers.
year. Fail. Complete fail.
He always sneaks up on you.
All right. Okay. Sorry to interrupt you about Chester. Continue.
Oh, that was key. Anyway, Pascal was there last year. He looked all right, but I think there's a large opening for targets behind T.Y. Hilton, especially if he gets hurt. I mean, Pittman, he's got all the potential in the world. His senior year at USC, put up 101 catches, 1,275 yards, and 11 touchdowns. They spent a second-round pick on him. That's a lot of draft capital.
Oh
Pretty
man.
confident.
Hold on. We got another raid.
Another one.
We got another raid. Milky
Yeah.
coming in with the party of 9. Welcome everybody, dude. What is going on? Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Fantasy Dad Show. We're talking about some sleepers. We just started on this segment. Welcome. I'm gonna let Kevin continue. Make sure you hit that follow button if you enjoy. We're on Instagram and we're on YouTube. This is every Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Kevin, continue. Sorry.
Second-round pick. A lot of draft capital used there. He's just a huge target. It's going to go up and get it for Rivers. I mean, they don't really have Jack Doyle's there at tight end, but I just think Pittman could easily be the second target in this offense. He could be a red zone threat. And he's being drafted wide receiver 57.
That's low.
I mean, that's super late.
As
I mean,
expected, though.
I mean, he's being drafted behind a lot of the other rookies, though, right now. I mean, even Ayuk was ahead of him. And I know because Debo is going to miss some time, people are high on Ayuk, but that offense doesn't really throw the ball a lot. Neither do the Colts, but, I mean, they do have Philip Rivers now. We've seen Rivers just kind of slaying it around. I think Pittman should be definitely higher than Ayuk,
Ayuk.
and I think you should definitely grab him.
I like Ayuk,
Definitely some
though.
late round value there.
Yeah. I like Pittman.
I like Ayuk. I don't know about San Fran, man. San Fran's just
Yeah, we'll
the way
see.
they do things.
Yeah. Pittman's good though. He's got a good spot. He's in a good spot over in Indianapolis. They're gonna throw the ball a lot. They're gonna let Philip Rivers sling the rock. They lost one of their top red zone targets in Ebron. So Jack Doyle will step up, but they're gonna need somebody else besides that. So you can see Pittman taking those targets, which would be big for him.
Easy. Go up and get it.
About the same stature anyway. So I mean, they don't really have anybody else that's a go getter like that. I mean, T.Y. Hilton's pretty small. He's more of an outside burner. And you got Paris Campbell on the slot, so Pittman could he be in that
Campbell's a burner too.
No, I like Campbell. No, we're not writing Campbell off spicy bean dip. Campbell's in my top 50. He's a guy to watch out for. But
I think he's a slot receiver though,
he
and
was
he's a
hurt.
speed guy. I mean, this guy
He got hurt
he
quick
could be a
last year.
beast.
He got hurt quick last year with his hamstring. So I gotta make sure that he's not gonna just pull it every year. So as for now, I like your sleeper pick here, Pittman. I see a lot of red zone targets in his future, especially with Philip Rivers. So. Who does like to target the big man in the red zone.
Right.
So I'm going to jump in. I'm going to talk about Sterling Shepard real quick. Not much of a sleeper, per se. I mean, everybody knows who this guy is. He's more or less of a guy who's being slept on because of his injuries last year and then in the year before that. But Sterling Shepard, it's kind of insane to me where he's getting picked. I mean, so after OBJ left, the Giants pretty much said, here's a contract. You're the number one receiver in New York now. You're going to get the top target share on the offense. It's going to be you and Evan Ingram. And I don't see why that's going to change. I don't. Golden Tate's not a number one option. He's a slot receiver. I mean, I know you just talked about him a little while ago. He's definitely going to get looks. He's definitely going to catch the ball. But I don't think that's going to take any looks away from Sterling Shepard. Right now, he's getting drafted 128th. I don't even know what round that is. That's late. That's almost undrafted. I think that's like what 13th round almost, 12th round. That's insane to me. That's insanely low. So that's where it makes me consider him a sleeper. 10 games played last year because of his injuries, concussions, and he had some back strain issues. But he still managed to get 83 targets in those 10 games with a rookie quarterback, mind you. Not his guy Eli. It was a rookie quarterback, so he was targeting him anyway. So he brought in 500 yards, 3 touchdowns. But when he did play, here's a good stat for you to know. When he did play, he averaged 9 targets a game. That's wide receiver one numbers for not in fan, but for your team. That's your number one option. But he's on the field for almost every offensive snap. He's not coming off the field, so I don't see why. I know Darius Slayton came onto the scene last year pretty hot. Daniel Jones likes him. And like you said, they got Golden Tate. I don't see where that's going to affect his target share at all. And Darius Slayton's getting picked way before Sterling Shepard. Golden Tate's getting picked way before Sterling Shepard. I can see why people get scared because of injuries, but people recover.
Tate's not getting picked before Shepard.
He's not?
No. Tate is 154 overall.
Okay.
Right now.
Well, okay.
But I agree with you. I don't know why Slayton is going ahead of Shepard.
Yeah, it's because he busted on the scene last year with the rookie quarterback. That's why. So people are going to assume that he's the number one option for Daniel Jones. But in reality, the coaching staff's not going to let that slide, dude.
He's like Slayton. The end of the year when they were all on the field together, he was like the last option.
Yeah.
In targets per game. If Shepard's out there, I like him a lot. But the thing is his injury last year, it's concussion. And that is the kind of thing that can end a career quick. So I think that is what's doing it to his ADP this year.
He did have concussion after concussion last year.
It's worth the risk.
But it's worth the risk. I mean, at that low.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I saw that when I was doing my research. I saw that number and I was like, really? I mean, I wasn't gonna. I was actually gonna make him my value. It was between him and Keenan Allen at first, and then I saw the ADP and I was like, oh, so you can't really consider him. I mean, he's a value, but it's a sleeper more or less. People are sleeping on the guy, which I don't think is right. The guy is is number one on the depth chart, and that didn't change. So, and they paid him. That's big. You pay somebody to play. They're not going to pay this guy to be the third receiver on the depth chart. So I think you pick Shepard. If you go into the season and he's on your bench, that could be a guy that ends up being your flex play or your wide receiver too. And who knows how Daniel Jones, maybe he'll be great. Maybe he'll be the next big thing, and Sterling Shepard ends up being bigger than that. So don't sleep on him too much. I like Sterling. So we're going to dive in a little deeper, though. Some deeper sleepers, and Kevin will start off with Alan Lazard, the Lizard King.
Take my guy, the Lizard King himself, the real one, not Sammy Watkins. You can basically just not draft Alan Lazard. He's wide receiver 62 right now. And you kind of just grab him for free.
That's kind of.
But we saw what he can do. I mean, Adams missed 4 games last year, and he had 35 catches, 477 and 3. And Rodgers couldn't stop, hyping him up. I just think there's no one else there is going to be the number 2 target. That's why I like Adams, obviously. Be possibly the wide receiver 1 this year, but there's got to be someone else to catch the ball. They have a second-year tight end, Sternberger. I don't think he's really going to be the guy. Aaron Rodgers, I think he hates Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I mean, MVS had the chance to really step up last year when Adams was hurt, and he didn't do it. He actually got worse than he was the year before.
Yeah.
I mean, his numbers, it's not just like he looked worse. His numbers went down, and that was with Adams not on the field. I mean, I know they want to run more, so that could have something to do with it, but we heard it last year in the preseason, Rodgers talking about MVS, Allison, St. Brown. These guys need to step up. He doesn't like them. And Lazard started catching balls last year. He was hyping him up. So he's the clear number 2 and an offense led by Aaron Rodgers. And even if they're a run-heavy offense now, there's value in that, especially when you can get him for free.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't sleep on him. I can scoop him up in the last round. If Adams gets hurt again, you got yourself I don't know what his ceiling really possibly could be, but the number one wide receiver for Aaron Rodgers.
I mean,
he's no Devontae Adams, but he's 6'4". He can go up and get it. A lot of potential there. Grab him in the last round of the draft.
Well, the big thing is they lost. Their red zone targets are up for grabs outside of Devontae Adams. Who else are they gonna throw it to in the red zone?
Just Adams.
Right. So he's gonna get looks.
Adams. I mean,
Adams and Jones.
They brought in Funchess. He just opted out for the season,
right?
And so it's going to be Aaron Jones is going to be involved heavily, and they got the new
Dylan
goal line back there. But I mean, as far as red zone targets go, I mean, Adams is going to be Devontae Adams' show. But this guy's 6'4", go up and get it.
Yeah.
Easy value, easy sleeper.
Yeah, deep. I like it. I like it a lot. He's a name people know. This name right here, people might not know who this is. If you do, that's good. You should know who this is. This is Jalen Hurd. He's a wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers. So
it's a deep cut, right? I like it.
If Debo didn't get hurt, I probably wouldn't be talking about Jalen Hurd. But I just want to remind you that Jalen Hurd was picked in the third round last year. He was picked after Debo, but they picked him to be part of their offense. He is a running back converted into a receiver, so he can play all over the field in an offense that's kind of a question mark right now. We don't really know. I mean, we know they went to the Super Bowl last year. We get that, and they were a run-heavy team, but we don't know what their offense is going to look like this year. You know what I mean? Jalen Hurd, 6'4". He's a big guy, so I feel like a lot of people don't even know how big this guy is. I think a lot of people assume that he's kind of small, on the smaller side, when they hear his name. I don't know why, but he's going to be an instant red zone target. It's Jimmy G. So if you look at their receivers, they're going to have no one. Debo's hurt. They got Kittle, and then they got their running backs.
Kendrick Bourne.
Kendrick Bourne
is probably going to be like the number 1, and then it'll be Ayuk and Hurd.
Yeah, so I like Hurd a lot. He's going to be an outside option. He's not going to play the slot. That's Ayuk. So he'll be on the outside, and I think he's going to make some impact right away. And there's no stats from last year because he was hurt. So I'm going to give you some college stats just to give you an idea. And I'm going to remind you he played 3 years as a running back and then transferred to Baylor and played receiver. They converted him to receiver for a year. And in his one season as a receiver for Baylor in 2018, he had 946 yards receiving and on 69 catches and 4 yards. Doesn't scream huge numbers for you, but that actually is the number 1 receiver for Baylor. So they picked him in the third round because he produced, and he had 1,200 yards total. So he ran the ball too. So a guy like Shanahan, who knows? Maybe this guy's his running back. This guy's production, his ceiling, potentially in Shanahan's offense, it could be flex worthy. It could be wide receiver 2 worthy. He could be running back / receiver. You might get 2 positions here. I
Yeah,
just
man. I was just reading that they're actually looking to do like a positionless offense. That's kind of like what they're doing. That's
that's
why
insane.
Kittle, right? Kittle like lines up wide all the time. They got check out there. I mean, Hurd could line up anywhere,
Yeah,
and then they need weapons, obviously.
yeah. So
I mean, no Sanders and Debo, so
yeah, same as left for that's the other guy I was going to mention. He left to go to the Saints. So the targets are there. I mean, and Kittle is not a guy. He's going to get his share, and that's every year. So when you look at the target share, you got to look at Debo's, and with him being hurt, and who knows when he's got a Liz Frank injury, right? His foot. Is that what happened to him? I think.
Is it the list, Frank? I
I think.
mean, even if it's not, he's probably going to start on the pup. It's probably going
Yeah.
to be 6 games.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. I when I was thinking deep sleeper, he came to my mind instantly because last year I actually had him as a deep sleeper, and he ended up getting hurt. I think it was week 4 of the preseason, and then he was done for the year because he fractured his back. Um, so it's just like I said, last round. These are the last round pick guys that could make or break your team. They could honestly win you the league. This guy, they got
Upside picks.
they could. This guy is gonna get the ball. He has to get the ball. They don't have anybody else. I mean, unless he gets hurt, then he's screwed. Obviously, that's like with any player. But I mean, Ayuk is a rookie. And I guess it kind of a lot of it relies on Jimmy G as well. But I don't know. The targets are there, man. They got to go to somebody, and they picked him in the 3rd round with intent to having him be part of their offense. So I don't know. I like Jalen Hurd a lot. He's not getting picked. He's not even drafted. His ADP is undrafted. I couldn't even find a number. So I got him in my top 50 because I'm big on him. I know probably nobody else does, but not. I mean, top 50 receivers, not overall. That'd be crazy. But yeah, Jalen Hurd. Write his name down. Don't forget his name. If you want to go look up some tape, definitely do it because the guy was electric in college. Absolutely. I watched a quick little 2-minute clip on YouTube just to dive a little more deeper into him so I can know what I was talking about. And this kid is big, man. He's not small. I don't know why. I forget who I was talking to about it. They're like, oh, he's a slot receiver. They got tons of those. They got Trent Taylor. I was like, all right, whatever, blah, blah. I looked it up. Dude, this guy is not a slot receiver. This guy is an outside target, man. He's big. He's big. So even when Debo comes back, this guy could still be relevant on the offense. So Jalen Hurd, write his name down. Don't forget him. Don't forget him. All right. So now we're going to jump into the bust real quick. I'll go first. It's probably one that not a lot of people are going to agree with. But this is T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton last year got hurt. Injured his back. Oh, no, it was his hamstring. I forget what it was, but he was hurt last year. It was his first year he was hurt. Every other year like that, every year before that, he was fine. So he's not really injury prone like a lot of people think he is. He's actually very healthy. He just goes into a lot of games questionable. But last year he did get hurt and he was only played in 10 games. In those 10 games, he had 500 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 68 targets. Getting Phillip Rivers does help a little bit, but he's getting drafted as a wide receiver too. He's not going to get those deep targets that he was getting before with Andrew Luck or whoever his quarterback, Jacoby Brissett. He didn't get any red zone looks last year. I think he had 2 targets in the red zone. But they brought in Michael Pittman, so those red zone targets aren't even going to go his way. So I mean, ADP right now is 4th round. To me, that's just not someone I would take in the 4th round. I think I'd stay far away from T.Y. Hilton this year. I just don't see the upside. He's getting older. It's Paris Campbell's healthy this year too. That's another guy that I kind of like this year to step up in that offense. I don't know. He's coming off his worst season as a pro. I just don't see it this year. I just don't see it at all. And I mean, I've been a T.Y. Hilton fan too in years past. I'm pretty sure I had him last year. I'm almost positive I did. But yeah, I just stay away from Hilton. I don't know. I don't know how you feel about Hilton right now, Kev. I got him ranked 20th. I mean, so he's still relevant. But if he's sitting there in the 4th round, I'm not taking him. Maybe if he slips to me 6th, 7th round, I don't know how that could happen. But I'll let somebody else take the risk. I think he's just too. I don't know. I think just Indianapolis in
I
general.
think
I don't know.
I think he'll be fine, but there's definitely some guys that I think have higher ceilings.
Well,
Like,
OBJ,
I'm gonna pick probably DJ Chark or Terry McLaurin over Hilton.
yeah, I was gonna throw some names out there at you. Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of guys that I actually have ranked
These
below
guys are
him.
young studs.
I have a lot of guys ranked below him that I would take. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I just something about Phillip Rivers. I don't know. I like Philly Rivers, but he's getting old too. You know, I don't think he's gonna go into Indianapolis and throw for 4,000 yards, 5,000 yards. You know what I mean? Then I don't know. Do you
They got
agree?
a good defense and they run the ball a lot. So I
Right.
don't really know if
I mean, even in the 10 games,
Hilton's gonna be able to
he
really.
only had 500 yards in 10 games. That's not a lot. I mean, what did Devontae Adams have? You know. So I mean, I don't know. All right. I'm not gonna dive too deep into him, but it's
Oh, mine might be an unpopular bust pick also, but
Cooper Cup.
uh, I mean he was absolutely unstoppable at the beginning of last year in PPR, like wide receiver 2 kind of numbers,
Yeah, I had him.
like overall wide receiver number 2. But then, I mean, as the season went on, from week 9 on, the Rams went into the 12 personnel, 2 tight end sets, and Tyler Higbee all of a sudden was setting the world on fire. A lot of Tyler Higbee. And Robert Woods became the heavily targeted wide receiver. They flip flopped. And I mean, from week 9, we had 4 targets, 3 targets, 6 targets, 4 targets, 6 targets, 4 targets. There was a couple 10 targets sprinkled in the middle of that. But I mean, he was very touchdown dependent at the end of last year. Cup was.
Yeah.
In some of those games with low targets, he caught a touchdown to save your day. But I mean, he wasn't even scratching what he was doing at the beginning of the year as far as targets or his snap count. He wasn't even on the field to have the targets. The 2 tight end sets were out there, and they had Woods and Josh Reynolds out there, and the 12 personnel. I'm not positive that's what we're going to see from the Rams this year, but if it is, I'm staying away from Cooper Kupp where he's being drafted.
Hi.
I mean, he's being drafted pretty high, of course, but and also I'm seeing McVay. He's gonna run out 4 running backs, kind of like San Fran, and just kind of do the committee thing. But if he's trying to be a little bit more like San Fran, then they're just gonna run the ball more. Period.
Yeah.
We'll probably see that bigger formation, 12 personnel, Higbee, a lot of Robert Woods, and I don't know if Kupp's gonna have that kind of volume like he had at the beginning of last year. So 3rd, 4th round, I'm not picking him there
No
for a
way.
guy who could get 3 or 4 targets a game. You have to rely on that touchdown. There was like 3 or 4 weeks in a row where he had 3 targets, 4 targets, 6 targets, but he got that touchdown. That's not going to happen. Can't rely on that. So obviously, if they come out the first game next year and they're running the offense they were running the beginning of last year, then Kupp will be a stud. But
Yeah.
from week the whole second half of the season, they were in 12 personnel. So I'm going to just stay clear of Kupp. I'll pick Robert Woods happily.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at with the Rams offense. I don't want any of those running backs anymore either, now that I'm seeing him talk about a 4 running back committee.
Yeah. I mean, I had Cup last year. I got him as a steal. I thought, and week 1, I think it was week 1 through 7, and then he had a little injury hiccup, and then that was it. He costed me a playoff game, and that's it. I'm done with you. You're done. I'm
Yeah,
not.
there was actually a game in there where he had 0.
Yeah. It is.
0 catches.
Yep. That
0.
happens. That happened.
That is brutal.
I'm gonna throw out a couple names at you. Just that I was just looking at rankings here, and I think it's kind of interesting. So, would you take Cup or Juju?
Juju.
Cup or OBJ?
Beckham. I'm pretty sure I have them ranked ahead of him right now.
You do. I'm not looking at you. I'm just looking at ADP
Oh, okay.
right now.
In general.
Yeah. It's just Cup. I mean, you got Cup and Thielen.
Thielen. I mean, give me the clear-cut number 1 targets
Right.
in
That's
an
what I
offense.
mean. It's tough, man. Because Cup, I think a lot of people are just kind of shaded by last year's
The
boom.
potential is there, but
Oh,
I mean,
obviously.
is that negative touchdown regression has to be coming.
I
Even
mean,
if he gets the target volume that he got last year, the touchdowns aren't going to – they just can't
I don't think
be
he's
that
going to.
sustainable.
I don't think he's going to get.
Robert Woods only had 2 touchdowns all of last year.
Yeah, that's not going
So
to
he's
happen.
going to have positive touchdown regression. I mean, I can't take Cup where he's being drafted.
Let's talk.
No way.
You got Tyler Higbee too. He came on the
Right.
scene. He's a
He
target.
had blow-up games, too.
Gerald
10
Everett.
for a buck 20 and 2.
Gerald Everett, target. These are targets that aren't going to go Cooper Kupp's way anymore after those first couple weeks. A lot of the people I think are tarnished by those first few weeks he had last year. Kind of inflated his stats near the end of the season. So I think he still finished. What'd you say? Wide receiver 6 or 7, right? He's still a top 10 receiver at the end of the year.
Well, he was definitely still a top 10 wide receiver.
So I mean,
but
a lot of people are kind of shaded by that. I had him.
really,
I had him.
if you looked at the second half of the year, man, it was crazy.
Did nothing. I remember. Did nothing. And you couldn't bench him. You couldn't bench him because he had that upside. And he's going to have that upside this year too, but it's not worth it. Not that early. There's a lot of other guys I'd take that I feel like are safer options. So that's a good call, Kev. I like that bust. My next one, A.J. Brown. Probably won you a league last year or two. He won. The guy who beat me in the playoffs had A.J. Brown and Ryan Tannehill stack. I just don't see so going back to like kind of being shaded by inflated numbers, A.J. Brown's numbers were kind of inflated as well. I mean, a lot of his touchdowns were 90 yards, 80 yards, which is great, but that inflates your yards, your yak, everything. I don't see how I could have faith in Ryan Tannehill, number one, to come back out this year and do the same thing, especially after getting paid. I don't see that happening. And I was a big Ryan Tannehill fan last year, but I don't see it happening again. I got him ranked 15th, which I moved him up a little bit today because I had him really low, and I don't think he's going to be that bad. He's still going to be able to produce you wide receiver 2 flex numbers, in my opinion, but he's getting picked as a wide receiver 1 in a lot of leagues because a lot of people are going running back heavy, even grabbing a quarterback and taking A.J. Brown as the number 1 receiver. I think a lot of that is to do with the fact that he won people leagues last year. He was a big name near the end of the year, so he's fresh in people's heads. But let's not forget his average yards per route was 20 yards. So he's not catching short balls. All his targets are downfield, which isn't bad necessarily, but he hasn't showed us that he can run middle field routes. He can't run slants. If he's going to be the number 1 receiver in Tennessee, he has to be able to do those things. And I didn't see that last year. I didn't see that, and the numbers don't show that at all. He only had 5 catches in the red zone, and as a big body receiver, that's nothing. So, I mean, those red zone targets are probably going to go to Jonnu Smith. They're probably going to go elsewhere. Derrick Henry's probably going to run the ball in. They're probably going to feed the ball to Derrick Henry 8 times from the 20. I just don't think that A.J. Brown is a guy that you can pick as your wide receiver 1, especially in round 2 or 3. That's way too early for me for a guy who's probably not going to do what he did last year. Teams are going to adjust. They're going to cover. They're going to shade him with the safety. He can't win one-on-one battles with top-tier corners. He got locked down in the playoffs by Gilmore. I don't know. I stay away from him, in my opinion. Just stay away from Brown. If he falls in your league, 4th, 5th round, he's got the upside. There's no doubt about that. But to pick him as your wide receiver 1 in the 2nd round or 3rd round, like people are, that's too high for me for a sophomore receiver that didn't really do much in the short route game or over the middle. Everything he did was deep and breakout plays, 90-yard catches, which a lot of that has to do with Derrick Henry and the play action that Ryan Tannehill can do pretty well with. So, I mean, there's that, but no. Not taking A.J. Brown in the 2nd round or the 3rd round. There's no way. There's no way. And he's got not to mention, he's got the 25th. I was looking at schedules today. He's got the 25th hardest schedule in the NFL for a receiver to go up against. So, I mean, like I said, he got locked up by Gilmore. Locked up. What did he do?
We'll say he's got some tough matchups at the beginning, but his playoff schedule is Jacksonville, Detroit, and Green Bay. So I don't know. So you got to start out hot, right?
He does what he did last year.
Yeah, you just.
But you waste a 2nd round pick on that.
Something hot went through the league. No, I don't know if I'm going to take him that early. I don't think he's a 2nd round pick right now.
No way.
But is that where he's being drafted, right?
Yeah.
Is he really in the 2nd round right now?
His ADP is 30.
I mean, I think he's an absolute monster, and
Oh, he's got
he
the body.
should just improve
But
on what he did last.
what really turns me
But
off is the red
that's a little
zone.
early.
The red zone target for a guy his size should not be getting only 5 targets in the red
Do
zone.
you think is Derrick Henry going to get 16 touchdowns again this year?
He definitely could. He definitely
He
could.
probably could. And, I mean,
He's gonna be. They're
that's a
gonna.
possibility.
They came out and Vrabel came out and said they're gonna give him the ball as much as they can. That's
Feed
why they paid
feed
him.
the man.
They're gonna give him the ball a lot.
Yeah, I think people might be overexcited on AJ Brown. You're probably
Because
right.
they like he wins you a league. He wins guys leagues. He took the 8 seed to the championship. Him and Tannehill took the 8 seed to the championship in the league of record. So I can see why it would be fresh in people's minds to take him in the second round or third round. But if you really dig in and look at his stats and his analytics, it's not somebody you want as your receiver one. He's more or less.
I'd be just as happy to end up with like Terry McLaurin
Well,
a
McLaurin's,
round later,
yeah, right,
round or two later.
yeah. So, and then for the last bust, we got old man himself, AJ Green, which I don't think this is
I
right.
don't know.
This isn't right of you to even
I've
do,
just
but
been
I'll let you do it.
I've just been talking about it all year. I just can't do it. I can't draft him. I mean, he's being drafted ahead of Tyler Boyd right now, and their schedule's not good. He's coming off a foot injury, 32 years old. I don't know. I know he's one of the best, man. He's one of the best.
Hall of
He's
Famer.
always had it. He's always had it, but I think his time could be done, bro. I'm not gonna spend a higher round top half of the draft pick on someone who I just don't believe has it anymore. I'd rather have Boyd, especially with Joe Burrow at quarterback. I don't know. I've heard we're not the only ones having the AJ Green Tyler Boyd debate, but I don't even have anything really to say beside my personal feeling on this. That I'm just not going to draft him
Yeah, I mean it's fair.
because the foot, the schedule isn't good, the team's not good, so I'll stay away. He could end up, being a huge value where he's being picked. He could jump back into the top 10 wide receivers. I just don't see it happen.
Let me just jump in real quick. I'll say one thing. The best friend for a rookie quarterback is a veteran receiver. Tyler Boyd is going to get his look in the slot. If T. Higgins is going to be on the opposite side of AJ Green. If AJ Green can stay healthy, and if he's as explosive as he has been, and would you say he's getting picked? I mean, that offense, it might surprise some people, man. It might surprise some people. Because Joe Burrows is not a kid. Let's remember that. He's older than some quarterbacks in the NFL right now. So this kid's mature. This number one pick in the NFL draft, could come out and be like, you guys want to doubt me? You want to doubt the Bengals? Because he's got that attitude. He comes out and he slings the ball to A.J. Green. He gets an 80-yard touchdown week 1. And we're saying he's a bust now. I can see why you would say it because his injury history and his age and, you want to just put him away. But, man, you can't deny the guy's talent. The guy's a Hall of Famer. I don't know. Where'd you say he's getting picked? 6th round?
5th round.
5th round? Well, all right. Maybe that's a little too early for me. Maybe I wouldn't dabble in it there. But I think in our league, a record, he might slip even. No, we got a couple of guys who might jump on him. But, yeah, we got a couple
He's got to play the Ravens. He's got to play the Ravens twice.
And Steelers.
And the Steelers twice.
And the Browns.
That's the two defenses in the league.
Yeah.
He plays Casey Hayward in the Chargers week 1, Darius Slay in the Eagles week 3. I'm just meh, man.
Okay.
I'd rather have a lot of other guys
That's
over the 32-year-old coming off a huge injury.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that AJ Green's a stud.
Oh, of course he is. 3 years ago.
Right, we'll see what happens week 1, dude. Casey Hayward might be eating dirt. We'll see. All right, that's gonna actually do it for us today. I appreciate everybody coming by. The raids from Milky and Stav. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you check us out on Instagram and YouTube at The Fantasy Dads. We're live every Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We try to go for an hour. We don't try to go over that. We did today, but I think that's because we got raided a couple times, so I kind of stopped Kevin. But yes, make sure you guys check us out on social media. This video will be live on YouTube tomorrow morning. If you missed the beginning part, it'll be live around 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. Also, going to announce that Mondays, probably, what time, Kev? Probably like 8 o'clock, 8:30, probably around the same time. We'll be doing mock draft Mondays.
Sounds good.
Mock draft Mondays here on Twitch as well. We'll be doing live mock draft.
We're going to use Sleeper for that, right, Ryan?
Yep, I'm going to be using the Sleeper app.
We're just going to
Yeah, I'll be able
pop Sleeper up on the screen.
Yep, just like everybody's beloved footballers. But yeah, we'll be running that every Monday. It'll be mock draft Monday, so make sure you guys come by and check us out for that. But yeah, Kev, as always, man, it was a pleasure. Had fun. Love talking football.
Yeah, buddy.
Dude. Also, merch. You can check that out too. I'll drop the link right now before we end this. And if anybody has any questions they want to ask right now, go ahead. We can answer for you real quick. If not, you can always message us on Instagram or post on comment on one of our posts or whatnot. We do spotlights every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday.
Monday, little rookie spotlight.
Right. We do rookie spotlights twice a week, and then the player spotlights twice a week. So, all right, guys, that's it for us. Thank you guys so much. Talk to you guys soon. If you stick around for Token Tuesdays, I'll be right back. Love you guys.